Okay, so this one's not about Pokemon, I promise. So I read a lot of manga. It's like my is it my favorite thing to do? It's up there. I enjoy reading manga. I usually can do it in my spare time. It's just fun, and I don't have a lot of time to sit down and like watch anime nowadays. So reading manga is just a little quicker for me. But sometimes you're reading manga and then it gets canceled. Okay, and there's been a couple of them over the years that I've read and they got canceled, and I just kind of want to talk about a couple of them. Actually, just two of them. Now, the first one I want to talk about is Earthchild. Okay, I'm going to be spoiling both of these, so if you want to read Earthchild, stop and go read Earthchild. It's very short. I think it's like 27 chapters, something like that. I might be thinking of Super Smartphone, which is another one. Actually, we'll talk about three because I forgot about. We'll talk about that one too. Well, Earthchild is essentially a story about normal, normal guy. I'm talking like he's just very ordinary. And one day, he's doing something and he's about to die, and he gets saved by someone, but he can't remember who it is. He doesn't really see the face. He just knows he got saved. And because he believes someone saved him, he keeps putting himself in situations where he's going to die because he's like, if this person saved me, I want to thank them. It turns out, eventually one day, she realizes that he's on to her. And so she leaves a note about, like, okay, we'll meet here. And when they finally do meet, she's like, yeah, I'm an Earth child, which means that she's basically someone born from the Earth that has special powers that are, basically they exist for the sole purpose of stopping like a major calamity. Whenever there's an Earth child, you can assume some big event is going to happen somewhat soon because the Earth child is supposed to sacrifice their life to prevent that event. Okay? And that's kind of the plot. And this gets resolved pretty early because we see her event after they get together and they have a kid. And we see that her event is there's a meteor coming to the Earth and it's very big and she needs to go up there and stop it in exchange for her life. But she doesn't die. And that actually is a problem in verse. And the reason it's a problem in verse is because there's supposed to only be one Earth child alive at a time. And so when they eventually do save her, because it spends a lot of time in space to have to like save her. When they do save her, and they had a kid at this point, remember the kid is also an Earth child. And since this is the first time, they're like, oh, we don't know what to do. And so the calamities on the planet get bigger and bigger because the Earth is trying to mitigate the fact that there are two Earth children on the planet. But because of this normal guy who kind of is also just a part of it, he's helping his wife and son, and that strengthens them because family. Got to have the bond of family, and it's really good. And I believe the reason it got canceled is because I guess it's in this awkward place where like the love story isn't what's carrying it because obviously they get together, they get married, they have a kid pretty early on, and there isn't much you can really do with it outside of like, oh, another calamity, we have to make it through as a family. And they try to do this other thing where there's another Earth child that shows up, but he doesn't really have his powers anymore because he was supposed to die. And it's like that stuff just doesn't really, it doesn't stick. There's a lot of things that it throws at the dartboard and it doesn't stick. But if you want to read just a really wholesome like love story, that's what it is. I do suggest giving Earthchild a read. I left a lot out. I know I was going to spoil it because I did kind of spoil the plot of a lot of it, but I left a lot out. So if you're still at this point and you kind of still like, oh, that sounds pretty good. It's a short read. It's a good read, and I kind of hate it got canceled because I was actually enjoying looking forward to that every week. We'll move on to the second one, I guess. Yes, yeah, we'll move on to the second one. The second one is Candy Flurry. You might have heard this one. This one's very popular because the concept was very cool. Basically, what happened is like this manufacturing company. Think like the Wonka chocolates from like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That gave people like just would let you do stuff from inhaling the chocolate. They started coming out with like candies, and when you eat these candies, you would get powers. And I guess everyone got different powers. And the main thing was there was someone who got like a lollipop power, and they destroyed Tokyo. Okay, their lollipops were so big, they destroyed the entirety of Tokyo by raining down lollipops. Now, the main character of Candy Flurry, she has the lollipop power, but she is not the one that destroyed Tokyo. So she has to hide her power because she doesn't want people to find out she has lollipop powers and accuse her for destroying Tokyo. Now, the problem that I have with this one getting canceled so quick is it actually had an interesting plot. For example, there was a fight with this girl who could control ice cream, and that was really good. And then there was the popcorn guy, that was also another good fight. And there was also these people who worked on like the candy surveillance service or whatever, and they just would fight with like oversized spoons and forks. It was honestly, the stuff is insanely goofy sounding, but like it's really good and the concept's great. I guess I just wish it had more going for it. I don't know why it got canceled. I kind of loved it, especially because there was like a big twist of like they were at the school and she was trying to not use her powers, but then the lollipop person showed up, and it's like insinuated that maybe they're related, or like that lollipop person knows who she is and knows that she has the lollipop powers. There's like something there, but obviously it got canceled, so it never expands on this, which kind of sucks. And so we're just kind of left in the dark of like what happens there. I don't know. Maybe this is one of those things where I feel like if it was an anime first, it would have made it. Because there's some, there's some anime that just are anime. They don't have manga or anything attached to it. And I feel like if Candy Floor was just an anime that you could just go watch and this was the concept, it would do amazing. Because I do feel like the concept was really good for Candy Flurry. It sounds insane. It's like I get to fight with candy superpowers, and that sounds crazy. I don't know. To me, that sounds interesting because I like shonen. So I guess it's just I don't know. It sounded good to me. It seemed great. I guess people weren't enjoying it, which kind of sucks because I was. And then we'll talk about. I guess next we'll go into what did you say earlier? Super smartphone. So super smartphone. This one's wild because technically super smartphone is still going. Technically, because it's like it's no longer an anime. I think it's supposed to be getting like novel releases, which does suck because those are hard to find, and I don't think those will really make it out of Japan. So essentially, it's done. But ideally, there is some way for me to read more of it if they do actually make the novels. From what I checked, there hasn't been any novel releases since the end of it. They dropped one more chapter in like a different magazine, but there haven't been any novel releases of it. So we'll see what happens with Super Smartphone. But what that one's about, it's about a kid who finds a super smartphone. And basically, you can ask this phone anything and it will tell you anything. And as you ask it questions, you get points. And those points can be used to unlock more features on a super smartphone. And the people who have them, they basically are fighting. Think Future Diary. I guess that's the best way to put it. Think Future Diary, where everyone has not everyone, but they have the selected people with Future Diaries, and they're basically in a battle to become God. Well, it's the same thing where there's people with super smartphones, and they're battling to see who can control the one super smartphone of that planet. And there's like these aliens that kind of watch over and govern them. There's rules to having a super smartphone. You're not supposed to tell people who don't have super smartphones that you have one. So you have to kind of deduce that they have a super smartphone first, but there's only a select few people that have them. And then it's really good because at one point they're like making alliances, like there's like the bad guy, and he has like his group of people he's collecting with super smartphones, and then you have Q, who's the main guy. He's also I don't know. This is really good, but I guess the reason it didn't make it far is because now that I'm thinking about it, it is a worse Future Diary, and I kind of hate that I'm saying that out loud because I actually kind of love Super Smartphone, but I also enjoyed Super Future Diary. Um, so if you ever get a chance, do read Super Smartphone, but I guess you could also just watch Future Diary. So I guess whichever one you want to do, it's a modern day Future Diary. I think there's a lot of similarities, and I do like Super Smartphone. I wish they would do more with it, and I do hope that if they do make novels, that these do come to the states, and so I can buy them and read them because that's what I enjoy doing. I think that's it that I have for canceled mangas. I've been reading a lot of like manhwas too. I've ventured off into those as well. Been reading like what is it? Oh my goodness! Why don't I know the names of my mangas? But I've been reading a lot of mangas and stuff too, just because I don't know. Waiting every week for a manga chapter is a lot, so I need more to read. But I've been reading like Revenge of the Sword Clan's Hound. That's pretty good. I did finish a Return of Magic should be special. Insane. It has an anime apparently. Go watch that. And if you don't have time to watch it, read the manga. It's really, really good. I want to make one of these videos about like completed mangas and mangas that I've read because it's quite a bit of them. But really good. I do suggest checking it out. I've also been reading Don Don. I've been reading Don Don, but I've still enjoying it, man. I don't know. I there's a lot of things that I've been going through, and I'm like reading it, and I'm just enjoying it week to week. Obviously, still reading One Piece as a big part of my life. So enjoying One Piece, enjoying Don Don. I've been reading Kurobachi, Sword Knights. Sword Clan's Hound, the Sword Hound. I just said it. The title. I that one's really good. I've just been calling it Hound. It's pretty great. I've also been reading The Player That Can't Level Up. That's also really good. I've been reading Rory Dragon. Also great. I've been reading Akana Banashi. Still really good. I've also been reading Soha Shojin, which is a pretty great. I don't know if you have nothing else to do with your time, read manga. This is what I tell people. You get bored, just read some manga. You don't know what you'll find, and usually it's just, oh, I found this. It's pretty great. And even if you don't, like, you're not a big reader, if you read something and you like it, at least you know if you hear about an anime, you've read some of it, so you're like, oh, okay, I know I'm gonna like this. I'll just watch it, right? I guess at that point, your only your only enemy is the animation. But I don't know. This one's gonna be shorter than the other ones. I just wanted to talk about some manga and stuff because I just enjoy it, and I'm gonna have more of that on here. Although I'm probably gonna have another Pokemon video coming soon. There's a lot to talk about with Pokemon, man. I enjoy it. So we're gonna talk Pokemon next video. The next one after that, I will probably be a manga video. But probably just completed mangas. Like ones that I've already read that are complete. I won't do it. I'll try to do a spoiler free. That way you can still read them because a lot of these I do want people to read, so more people can read it and know about it. So I don't seem crazy when I talk about it. Anyway, that's all I got. So if you read manga, that's great. If you read manga that I didn't name, put it down and I'll answer if I read it. That's important because a lot of these I've read I did not list the name. So who knows? Worst case scenario, give me something new. All right. All right. Bye.